welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be discussing on how I paid off my student loans and kind of my story with student loan payment and why I wanted to pay mine off so quick and how I did it and everything that you need to know before you either take out student loans or are paying them off. So I thought I would first just kind of start off with university. So I graduated in May of 2020 amidst the pandemic, but I moved home in March of 2020 back to my home province in Prince Edward Island. So I went to school out of province, which means that I paid more for my school than someone who lived within province. I lived in a mix of different residences throughout my years. I had meal plans, I didn't have meal plans. My final year, I lived off campus with some of my friends. So normally a normal year, just to be completely honest, is around $20,000 to the school that I went to. And that's pretty much everything included: residence, eating, spending money, tuition, books, all of that kind of stuff. That is what I aim to save every year, whether that be my parents giving me money. I had jobs throughout university and then also through grants and student loans. So if you are good at math, that means that I paid close to $80,000 for my degree. Some of that was savings through my RESP account, so my Registered Education Savings Plan. So I used that for mostly my first year. I had jobs throughout high school and I worked throughout university. So I paid most of it myself. My parents gave me some money, and then I did have some money saved through an RESP account that was set up for my grandparents. They contributed to from when I was a baby to when I entered university. So I did have around $60,000 that I had to pay for myself through student loans or through my job during the summer or during the school year, and then also through any kind of bursaries or scholarships or anything that I could find. So that was a lot of money that when you are working in the summers and doing part-time jobs, it's really hard to make $60,000. So I did have to take out student loans, which I definitely do not regret, because I don't regret anything about my student experience. But I knew that when I graduated, I needed to be very laser focused when I graduated, because I didn't want to have to make payments on my student loans. So what I did was, whenever I graduated university, well, I mean, I moved back home in March, but what I did do was I started my job a little bit earlier, which I was lucky enough to find a job with the same company that I had worked for as a student throughout my years of being a student. So I found a job that paid very, very well, and I was very lucky to find that job, and I'm still working for that same company, different job, but still for the same company. So what I did was I took what I was bringing in monthly and I divided it by how many months it would take me to pay off. And so I took my expenses. So I took, really all I had was my phone bill, and then I gave myself a budget weekly of if I wanted to go out to eat with my friends, or if I wanted to, really that's kind of it, because I didn't really have much, and online shopping. So I did give myself a budget for those things, but everything else I wanted to throw against my student loan. And in Canada, where I live, we had until September until our loans started. We had like a 6-month grace period where we didn't have to pay for our student loans. So in that time, I think it was October actually, when I had to start paying interest and stuff on my loan. So my goal was, and that's federal, my federal part of my loan. So I had a federal loan and a provincial loan. So my federal loan had most of the money, and I think that was close to $11,000, I'm pretty sure. So I needed to pay that off between May, when I started my job, and October. So I had to divide and conquer and really get that done. My goal was, so I just took how many months it was, which I think it was like 6 months, and I divided it by $11,000. And I think it worked out to be around $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So what I did was I took that money and I threw it in a high interest savings account, and I put it aside, and I completely forgot about it. Like completely forgot about it, because I knew that I would dip into it. I would be like, oh my goodness, I have so much money. But really I didn't, because I was paying my student loan. So I really went laser focused because I didn't want to have to pay off my student loan. That was just a personal decision. I didn't want to have to be paying off my student loan for years and years and years. I wanted to just get it done while I was still living at home, and I didn't have any expenses, thank goodness, for my parents. They put me up at their house, and I was able to work from home and literally not pay anything, not groceries, All I had to do was spending money, my phone bill, and then they really wanted me to focus on my student loans, which is why they let me live here for free, rent free. So I was able to put 97% of what I brought home and put it against my student loan. So I'm very grateful for them, because otherwise I would not have been able to pay off my student loans. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, why did you get a student loan and all this kind of stuff. I could have probably went to the university in my town for like no money, because my parents had money saved for me to go to university, but I decided that I wanted to go away and really like just get that experience, and I definitely do not regret that at all in the slightest. So if people are making you feel bad for having a student loan, please don't, because in my opinion, to me it was worth it. And my student loan was $15,000, which some people might think is a lot, some people might not, but it was the only loan that I took out. Like, I don't have a car, I have none of those things, so I felt like it was a good thing for me to do, because my dream was to go to that school and I did that, so it was very important to me. But another thing to focus on is to make a budget. So, and be realistic with it. How much do you think that you're going to spend weekly, monthly? Break it down how you would like. I always did weekly. So every 2 weeks I would divide my paycheck. Okay, I would need $75 per month for my phone bill. That was just how much my phone bill was. And then everything else, so whether that be going out with friends, or, you know, if you want to go out to eat some, or whatever it is, shopping. So I always made a weekly budget. I don't know how much it was, I kind of forget, but it was like normally like $100 a week that I was able to spend on whatever I wanted. So I let myself have that, and everything else went against my student loan. But I lived like a student for 5 months, so I didn't spend on unnecessary things, even though I really wanted to, because I finally had money coming in. But I just kind of like made my why that I wanted to pay it off, all my student loans, as quick as I could. So you don't have to go as hard as I did, but I just went as hard as I could, and I still had a roof over my head and I still had food, so anything else I was fine. And I still did have a lot of fun in those 4 months. We were still living in a pandemic, so I couldn't travel, couldn't go to concerts, couldn't go to really do anything except for be in my hometown, which I loved for the summer. It was like the best summer of my life. So we went to the beach, we did a lot of free things, like hang out at people's cottages, or, you know, go swimming, go boating, go to the beach. It was like the best summer ever. When you make a budget with all the things that you want to spend, please, please, please be honest. And sometimes it's better just to make it more honest, so then you don't beat yourself up if you spend too much or anything like that. So make sure it's honest when you are making your budget, and try to put any extra money that may come in against your student loan. So throughout that period, I got, I think, a few different raises, if not like paid for extra time and stuff, because it seemed like I had a lot of money coming in that I didn't expect, which allowed me to pay off my student loans quicker. And I think also throughout that period, I also got CERB for 1 month because I didn't have a job due to the pandemic. So I was able to get CERB for 1 month as well, which was great. And I put all of that towards my student loan, because I was still living at home and I didn't like have any immediate expenses that I had to put it towards. So that also helped CERB. Yeah, so in I think it was August that I was able to pay off all of my federal student loan, which was I think close to $11,000. So I was able to pay that off in August, which was great. So then I took a kind of a break for the rest of the summer and just kind of spent what I wanted. Like, I bought a Peloton bike, and I bought a few things that I really wanted, a few things for clothes for work or slippers, or I kind of just like let myself spend what I wanted to. And then in September I refocused, and from September to the end of October, I put the rest of my money away for my student loan, which was around $4,000 for my provincial student loan. And that is not due to be paid until May. So right now I have that money just sitting in a high interest savings account, waiting for that grace period of interest to be closed so I can put that money in and say, see you later, government, I don't owe you anything anymore, and just kind of bon voyage to that, which I'm so excited to do that. I have that money just sitting in an account, waiting for that to be over. You really, when you're paying off your student loan, you have to think, what is my why, you know? Because it's gonna be hard, because people are gonna be spending money that, like, around you, like friends, family, and you have to be disciplined to know, why are you doing it? Why are you putting yourself, like, if you really wanted a new pair of shoes or a new purse or whatever, trust me, I went on shopping trips with my friends, and I had to stay on budget on what I wanted to spend because I had a bigger goal in mind. I really wanted to be debt-free by the end of 2020, which I did. Thank goodness. Like, it was a lot of hard work, but I'm so grateful that my parents set me up for success because I could live from home, work from home, and not have to pay any rent or groceries or whatever. But one amazing thing, different things that I think that you should know when you're paying off your student loan is, number one, look for different funding. So because of COVID, there's a lot of different programs and a lot of different places are putting student loan payments on pause for the moment. And another thing to do is to look for your local government and see if they have any debt repayment programs. So the provincial government that I live in Prince Edward Island, if you move back to Prince Edward Island or live in Prince Edward Island after you graduate and you get a job, they will almost like forgive a certain portion of your student loan. So I think they can, per year, I think they can forgive up to $1,000, $1,500. I'm not sure exactly what the number is. So look into that program as well. I'm filling out that paperwork right now. I don't know if I've been approved yet or not, but let alone I still have the money saved even if I'm not approved. So look into that to see, and then that's kind of like free money that you don't have to worry about paying back. So if you're kind of in a crunch that way, look within your provincial governments to see if they have that option. Also, another thing you can do is use cash for everything. So when you actually have to physically give cash for something, you are more likely to think about it in your head. If you are really struggling with putting that money aside, take out cash for every transaction that you need to make. I actually follow Dave Ramsey sort of when I'm doing my financial planning, so I just find his is like the easiest way to do it. It's very good for people who are just starting out with budgeting. So basically his mindset is, first you save your emergency fund, which is $1,000, so you use that in case you have an emergency. After you get from step 1, you go to step 2, and that is paying off all your debt. And he says to pay it off from your smallest debt to your largest debt. So since I only had 2 debts, I had my provincial student loan and my federal student loan. My provincial student loan was due to gain interest in May of 2021, which has not yet passed. And then my federal student loan, which was the bigger of the two, double size, that was due to gain interest in October, November of 2020. So I decided instead to flip it because I knew that I was going to pay off all the student loans within the next few months. So I decided to flip it and put all my money against the big federal one before it started gaining interest, because I never wanted to pay interest on the student loans, because the federal one I think was close to 5 or 6% interest, which I did not want to pay. So I decided to pay that one off quicker before it started to gain interest. And then the next few months I took a break, and then the next few months I decided to put money towards my provincial one and get that paid off. So I never had credit card debt or anything like that, luckily. Those are the only 2 debts that I had to pay off. Not the only, but the 2 debts that I had to pay off, and now I am debt-free, which feels so nice to say. I guess I'm not officially debt-free because I have to give the money to the government, but I have it aside, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. But definitely I would say coming out on the other end of paying off all my student loans, being debt-free, it is such a blessing, and I'm so grateful that I decided to take the time to pay off my student loans. And I know that not everybody is in the same situation. Maybe you lost your job during COVID, or you couldn't find a job, or you can't live at home where you can save a majority of your money, or, you know, there's so many different situations. But I just have to say that I'm so grateful, number one, to my parents who allowed me to stay here at my house, at their house, I guess I should say, my house too, but stay here, work here, because I work from home, and you know, take care of me while I could pay this down. And I'm so grateful to them. And they also put this idea into my head to be debt-free and to pay off all my student loans. So to them, I'm very grateful. They gave me a really great financial starting point, so now I'm debt-free, so I can really start to make really good investments to start my life, my real big girl life, off on a good start. So I'm very grateful to them, and it wouldn't have been possible without them and their support. But if you have any questions about paying off your student loans, budgeting, anything like that, I love talking about that kind of stuff. I studied business in university. I love personal finance. I'm obviously like not a professional, but I did study finance and business and all that kind of stuff in university. But yeah, if you have any questions or any video ideas about personal finance, I find there's not really a lot of young women talking about personal finance on YouTube, and to really like understand what you should be investing in. Should you be investing in stocks or long-term investments like the tax-free savings account or our RSP account and stuff like that. And just know that like it's never too late to really learn about budgeting. It's really not that difficult. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you could take the time to like, subscribe down below, and maybe comment any finance questions or any topic ideas for future videos about finance, personal finance, budgeting, all of that kind of stuff. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Another broken plate, another called off date. We never seem to get it right. Another heart attack.